Welcome to YouTube Pedia. Discover the greatest stories from history, science, and beyond. If you're curious about the world, subscribe now and join our journey through knowledge. Let's get started. Robert De Niro, the birth of a legend. In the shadows of post-war New York City, where jazz melodies echoed through dimly lit streets and the smell of espresso lingered in the alleys of Little Italy, a boy named Robert Anthony De Niro was born on August 17, 1943. The city itself seemed to shape his destiny, gritty, passionate, unpredictable. He wasn't just raised in New York, he was New York. His parents, Virginia Admiral and Robert De Niro Sr., were not typical working-class Americans. His mother was a poet and painter, bold and progressive, while his father was a respected abstract expressionist painter, whose art was deeply emotional, raw, and sometimes misunderstood. But their marriage didn't last. They separated when De Niro was just 2 years old. Raised mostly by his mother, young Robert found solace in books, movies, and daydreams. He was introverted, almost ghost-like in his presence. Quiet, watchful, but something behind those eyes burned bright, the spark of transformation. He was nicknamed Bobby Milk in the neighborhood because of his pale complexion and skinny frame. But no one could have imagined that this delicate, unassuming boy would one day redefine what it meant to become a character. De Niro wasn't just interested in acting, he was obsessed with it. He wasn't playing roles, he was living lives. At the age of 16, De Niro dropped out of high school to chase a dream that felt impossible. He enrolled in Stella Adler's acting school, where he learned to respect the emotional depth of the character. And later, under Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio, he immersed himself in method acting, a brutal, emotionally consuming technique that few could master. But for De Niro, it was instinct. The late 1960s and early 1970s were a time of cultural rebellion, cinematic revolution, and artistic experimentation. De Niro fit in perfectly, his talent raw, his style unconventional, his commitment absolute. His early roles in Greetings and The Wedding Party barely made waves, but his performances caught the attention of someone important, a young director named Martin Scorsese. In 1973, the two teamed up for Mean Streets and a legendary partnership was born. De Niro's portrayal of Johnny Boy, a reckless, volatile street thug, was electric. He was unpredictable, dangerous, and strangely charismatic. He didn't act, he exploded. Critics couldn't look away and audiences didn't know what hit them. De Niro had arrived. But it was The Godfather Part II, 1974, that elevated him into cinematic immortality. Taking on the role of young Vito Corleone, a part previously brought to life by the great Marlon Brando, was a dangerous move. But De Niro didn't imitate, he studied. He learned Sicilian, absorbed Brando's essence, and then made the role entirely his own. The result was a haunting, masterful performance that earned him his first Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. At just 31 years old, Robert De Niro had carved his name into the stone of Hollywood. Then came Taxi Driver 1976, a film that didn't just showcase De Niro, it unleashed him. As Travis Bickle, a mentally unstable Vietnam veteran drifting through the neon-lit madness of Manhattan, De Niro delivered one of the most unforgettable performances in film history. The infamous line, "You talkin' to me?" scripted. It was De Niro's improvisation, born from the depths of his method process. That moment became a cultural landmark, a chilling mirror to the urban alienation of the 1970s. But De Niro was far from done. He had a hunger for the extreme, a devotion to authenticity that bordered on obsession. For Raging Bull 1980, in which he portrayed the self-destructive boxer Jake LaMotta, he trained relentlessly, learning how to fight like a pro. Then, for the later scenes, he gained over 60 pounds, allowing his body to reflect the inner collapse of LaMotta's soul. The performance was brutal, poetic, tragic, and earned him his second Academy Award, this time for Best Actor. In the years that followed, De Niro became a chameleon, a mafia boss, a war veteran, a jazz musician, a thief, a father, a devil. His commitment never wavered. His silence spoke volumes. Every twitch, every breath, every eye movement told a story. Behind the camera, however, De Niro remained an enigma. He rarely gave interviews. He hated the limelight. He let his characters do the talking and the world listened. By the end of the 1980s, Robert De Niro had built a filmography that most actors could only dream of. But this was only the beginning. He was about to enter a new era, one of reinvention, experimentation, and power plays both on screen and behind the scenes. The untold depths of a legend. As the 1990s dawned, Robert De Niro was no longer just an actor, he was an institution, a cinematic titan, but he wasn't content to remain still. Instead, De Niro evolved, transformed, and expanded in ways that kept both fans and critics in awe. His devotion to his craft was not a phase, it was his essence. The decade began with a bang. In 1990, De Niro reunited with Martin Scorsese for what many consider to be one of the greatest gangster films of all time, Goodfellas. As James "Jimmy" Conway, De Niro was both charming and chilling, calm one moment, deadly the next. The film's raw energy, electric pacing, and brutal honesty reshaped the crime genre, and De Niro's performance anchored the chaos with terrifying elegance. But De Niro wasn't afraid to take risks. He wasn't limited to mobsters and violent anti-heroes. In Awakenings 1990, he starred opposite Robin Williams, portraying a catatonic patient slowly returning to life. The performance was subtle, human, heartbreaking, a reminder that De Niro could do just as much with silence and stillness as he could with fire and fury. Then came Cape Fear 1991, where he transformed into the nightmarish Max Cady, a convicted rapist bent on revenge. Covered in tattoos with a southern accent and an unsettling calmness, De Niro terrified audiences with his intensity. He reportedly paid thousands to have his teeth ground down to look more menacing, and then thousands more to repair them after filming. That was De Niro, forever blurring the line between actor and character. But his range didn't stop there. He moved fluidly between genres, the stylish neo-noir Heat 1995, where he faced off against Al Pacino in a legendary on-screen duel, the cerebral thriller The Fan 1996, the crime saga Casino 1995, a spiritual successor to Goodfellas, and even the political satire Wag the Dog 1997. By the late 90s, De Niro shocked the world again, not with violence but with laughter. In Analyze This 1999, he poked fun at his own gangster image, playing a mob boss who needs a therapist. He proved he had impeccable comedic timing and audiences loved it. He doubled down with Meet the Parents 2000, creating a new generation of fans who only knew him as the intense, overprotective father-in-law. He had reinvented himself yet again, and it worked. But De Niro wasn't just acting, he was building. In 2002, he co-founded the Tribeca Film Festival, a project born from the ashes of 9/11. His goal was to revive downtown Manhattan and support filmmakers from around the globe. It was a passion project with a purpose, and it quickly became one of the world's premier film festivals. De Niro had gone from performer to protector of the arts. And through it all, he remained elusive. Rarely seen in tabloids, fiercely private and unapologetically opinionated, Robert De Niro carved out a space in Hollywood that was uniquely his own. He wasn't a celebrity, he was a guardian of storytelling. His accolades piled up: multiple Oscars, Golden Globes, BAFTAs, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, but more than the awards, it was the respect of his peers that defined his legacy. Directors trusted him, actors revered him, audiences believed him. In his personal life, De Niro was just as layered. A father of 6, he has always shielded his children from the spotlight. His marriages, business ventures, and even political outspokenness painted the picture of a man deeply rooted in his values, quietly strong, fiercely loyal, and never afraid to speak truth to power. Even as the 2000s and 2010s rolled on and the film industry changed around him, De Niro never stopped working. Whether in small indie projects or major blockbusters, he brought the same intensity, the same soul. In The Irishman 2019, his reunion with Scorsese, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci wasn't just a film, it was a symphony, a meditation on aging, regret, and time. It was De Niro's story in many ways, not flashy, not loud, just real. And that's what makes Robert De Niro eternal. He doesn't chase fame. He doesn't chase trends. He chases truth. Every role, every line, every gesture, he's searching for honesty. In a world of illusions, Robert De Niro is the rare performer who disappears into others so we can find pieces of ourselves. His story isn't just one of cinematic greatness. It's a lesson in transformation, in dedication, and in staying true to your craft no matter the cost. De Niro reminds us that greatness isn't loud. It's earned in silence, in struggle, and in unwavering pursuit of excellence. Enjoyed this deep dive into one of the greatest actors of all time? Then don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to YouTube Pedia for more mysterious, powerful, and cinematic stories from the legends who shaped our world. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter.